know what to do next. You need to call and get your 44 pills for just $99. Stop overpaying for the other blue pills. Call us and start saving a ton of money for the exact same results. Ordering is fast and easy with your pills delivered to your door in a non-marked package. 800-223-0992. 800-223-0992. 800-223-0992. That's 800-223-0992.
Welcome in to Picks and Parlays Radio here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network, and also streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If you search Picks and Parlays, we're really easy to find and usually the first thing that pops up, so not too hard to find. And we also appreciate your feedback. I am your host, Chelsa Messinger. You can find me on Twitter at Chelsa Messinger. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. It's Monday, September 23rd. September is rolling right along, and we hope your bets did well this weekend. If not, maybe you can double up and win some money tonight on Monday Night Football. That's one of the topics we'll be covering on today's show, along with baseball, more NFL, and of course, some college football, because it's the greatest time of the year when it comes to football. And you do have a little baseball sprinkled in, about a week remaining in the regular season, so some of those games are very meaningful. We'll take that into account. Also, not to give myself a pat on the back, but your girl won a 14 parlay this weekend in the NFL. My husband and I each picked two games that we were the most confident in, and of course I picked the two night games, so I spent the entire night miserable, nervous, and anxious. I couldn't even watch the Rams and the Browns game because it was the last team left on our parlay. It won. And of course, the second you win, you think to yourself, wow, that was easy. I just put down $25 to win $304. Why don't I do this every weekend? And you forget about how miserable you spent the entire night. But that's how gambling works in my mind. Do you have any superstitions? Anything that you like doing when you gamble? Let us know. Hit us up on Facebook or on Twitter with any of your wild superstitions. It was a crazy week in the NFL. Backup quarterbacks had a great weekend. In fact, they were 6-1 against the spread. That is, if you include Josh Rosen, who I guess you could call him a backup, but not so much as opposed to some of those other guys. Teddy Bridgewater came up big with a win on the road against the Seahawks. And then Daniel Jones, he looked good. So a great week for them. And of course, Gardner Minshew and his mustache. When we come back from the break in our first segment, we talk baseball and Monday Night Football here on Picks and Parlays Radio. Stick with us after the break.
Now's the time to travel and be with the people you care about the most. And at Holiday Inn and Holiday Inn Express, we're helping you be there for less. Save at least 25% at thousands of hotels worldwide if you book by September 24th. You won't want this moment to pass you by. So book today at holidayinn.com. Terms and conditions apply.
It's O'Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts, where you can earn bonus points on more than 250 offers. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store today or browse through our offers at O'ReillyAuto.com, where you can earn double points shopping online. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, travelers. Do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
855-325-1780. 855-325-1780. That's 855-325-1780.
Are you an active stock market investor? Well, then you know these three key words: buy, sell, hold. Those three magic words can make or lose you money in the stock market. What if we can show you a time-tested tool that's been helping stock market investors succeed for over 30 years? It's called VectorVest, an amazing system designed to make smart investing easy. The VectorVest system analyzes, sorts, and ranks over 19,000 stocks every day and tells you when to buy, what to buy, and when to sell any stock to maximize your profits in less than 10 minutes a day. And if you call right now, you can test drive our amazing VectorVest system risk-free for 30 days for just $9.95.
800-584-2519. 800-584-2519. 800-584-2519. That's 800-584-2519.
Welcome back to Picks and Parlays Radio here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network, and also streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If you search Picks and Parlays, we're really easy to find. I am your host, Chelsa Messinger. On this Monday afternoon, we've got Sean Higgs joining us right now. Sean, how was your weekend?
Again, I hit my big plays. I'm happy about that. My big plays came in. Washington and college football rolled BYU. I had the Vikings at my top 10 star in NFL. And, my big plays, 8-4-1 in college, 5-2 for the season NFL. But everything else, I just can't catch a break. My totals, NFL 0-6. So I'm done with totals. And that, otherwise, you get rid of that and things are looking up. But listen, 3 weeks down, I've learned my lesson. My total numbers are not where they're going to be. I'm not going to be playing those anymore. Otherwise, though, best bets, 10 stars, sure shots, they've all been hit, so I'm happy about that. I'm just going to key in on my top plays now and move on. It's about adjusting. So, listen, I'm happy, but, you have Houston on Thursday night, and you get that Hail Mary. You have FIU, and you get an onside kick coming back the other way. I got Texas muffing a punt with 3 minutes to go instead of icing the game. That's a loser. I got Washington State up 35 or 40 to 15 or whatever it is over UCLA. So I've had my share of bad ones. It's time to turn the page.
Right. Your luck's got to change sometime. And you got to remember,
you get a couple of those, you're like, ay.
It's the long game. Like, it's a long season. Yeah. You've got plenty of time to have some good weeks.
Yeah, like I said, the bigger ones come in, so I'm happy about that. So it's gambling. If it was easy and, I knew the future would be stealing. So we know it's not that easy.
And especially college football, because as you mentioned, so many crazy things seem to happen in college football, like that Tulane game with the fake kneeling. That was wild. I had Tulane, but I was busy, miserable watching the Titans game, so I didn't even get to see that one hit.
Although that's what makes college a lot of fun to watch, though, because it's not,
right.
There's always some kind of excitement. They're kids. It's not perfect. Not that the NFL's perfect by any sense of the means, but, you get a lot more excitement, crazy plays in college, makes it fun. And
right.
Those Saturday night games are totally out of control. Like they were it's a wild affair.
All right, we've got to get to our picks. Let's start with baseball because there's only 8 games left in the season. The Phillies and the Nationals, and it's crunch time for the Phillies. They're 6 games back out of the wild card with 8 games remaining. You do the math. They need to win some games. Zach Eflin on the mound, 9-12, 4 ERA against Pat Corbin of the Nationals, who's been really good this season and especially good at home. He has the 4th best ERA in the big leagues with a 2-flat ERA. Thoughts on this one?
Well, I like the under here. We have 5 games tonight, and half of them are laying 200. Or all of them are basically laying that, except for the Cardinals. So I'm going to lean to the under here simply because you mentioned Corbin at home, very good. Actually, Eflin, his last few starts against Washington, 3 this season, 1.50 ERA. Both teams still fighting for this playoff spot. So maybe some tightness on both sides. I'm going to go with the under here. That's the only way I go. I'm not going to lay 200. And, the Phillies have been pretty much a bust all year, so let's go under the 9.
All right, let's move on to the Red Sox and the Rays. The Red Sox, I believe, are eliminated because they're 10.5 games back with 8 games left to play. You do the math. Rays are 92-64, tied for the second wild card. Blake Snell on the mound tonight, only supposed to pitch 3 to 4 innings since he is coming off the IL. And it's Chacin on the mound for the Red Sox, who's 3-11 with a 5.66 ERA. What's your pick?
I'm looking at the run line here. I see it's basically even money, maybe plus 105, and that's, as you said, Snell's only got a few innings, but I don't really think that's a problem because Tampa is one of those, we throw a starter or an opener out there or whatever for 2 or 3 innings. So this fits into their game plan. I also like the over 8.5 here because they've actually owned Boston lately. 6-1 last 7 over them, 4 the last 5 have gotten over in the series here. Boston can still hit, whether they mail it or not. Young kids come up. Tampa's still in it. 8.5 looks pretty low considering that Boston's been a bust all year. That bullpen's been terrible. So I'm going to go 1.5 with Tampa and on the over 8.5. I think that's a little low because Tampa can hit the ball. They're 92 wins. They're a good team. They're a good team.
And they are at home. Rolling right along to Monday Night Football. Bears, Redskins. Bears favored by 5 in this one. Total sits at 41. It's a low number, but it looks a little juicy considering the Bears have only scored 19 total points, 1 touchdown through 2 games. But the Redskins, on the other hand, have given up 63. Play on this one.
Well, we touched on this briefly on Friday. So, I kind of like the 5. It's been up at 4.5. I actually saw a 6 pop up a little bit here with the Skins as a home dog. As bad as my totals have been, I like the under here, I'm going to tell you. So either fade it, probably fade it since I'm on 6. Bears have struggled on offense, but I don't know if Washington's as good as the Denver or even the Green Bay defense. Coming off 2 division games, I think this is actually like an easier game for them, believe it or not. I know Chicago's defense travels well, but I like the Redskins here. Until Chicago could score, even against a Washington team that's given up like 30 points a game, again, you're playing familiar foes. I still like the under here at 41.
Are you taking a side? Did you say you like the Redskins?
I like the Redskins. Yeah, money line them up. I think everybody's gonna be listen. I had the Rams last night, thinking everybody was all over.
You backpedaled there.
I had the Browns, and everybody was on Rams. I like them, but I'm gonna tell you how I do. I like the Browns last night. I thought it was a good play. When the world's on the other side, like as the money comes in, like today coming on the Bears, I'm gonna love my dog even more. Especially an ugly dog, a team like the Redskins who people think are going to be a bad team. They have a 6-win total or something like that on the season. So I'll take, if I'm getting 6 points, and I'm sure it'll probably come up another tick or so. Hopefully we get 6.5 before we get a good buyback on the home dog. Give me the home dog in the NFL.
Right. To be fair, the Redskins, they've played good teams. And I believe it depends on the number you got with the Eagles game. They lost 32-27. So it depends on the number that you've got. But they've come close to covering in their games at least.
Yeah, they got the back door, and they played well against the Eagles to start the game. They were winning, what was that, 17-0?
To start the game, key words.
All right.
Second half,
you know what?
not so much.
Yes, but the thing is they're not supposed to be good. So you jump out at home on the road against a team that's supposed to be a Super Bowl contender, and that's pretty good. The Bears, let me see the Bears fall behind 17-0 on the road and come back. Good luck with that.
I'm just wondering about this Bears offense because to start the season when we did all of our preview shows, Mitch Trubisky was one of the dark horse contenders for MVP. A lot of people liked him as a value play, and he has not looked like that so far.
What was he going to throw? Maybe 20 touchdowns this year? They lessened the offense for him in the preseason. We talked about it. He didn't even play in the preseason. Hi, let's not play our franchise quarterback in the preseason and shorten the playbook. Yeah, that's a recipe for winning. Unbelievable. And then let's have 7 running backs. Let's just keep drafting running backs, and that makes our quarterback better.
And they all seem to be under like 5'6". Is that just me, or are the Bears running backs all really short? Is it Tariq Cohen?
The Redskins defense is not bad. Again, you're playing division team. They're familiar with you and stuff like that, so you get exposed a little more. I'm thinking they're going to win tonight. I really like them to win the game. I like the points, but I'm not high on the Bears. Everybody's high on the Bears. It's not last year. The defense is good, but it's not going to be that great every single game. They're going to take a step back. It's going to happen here. When you're a bad team and you're on prime time, you got something to prove. We've seen it on these Thursday night games. These bad teams coming out to ball out. So I'm expecting the same here on Monday night.
And it seems some of these primetime games have been low scoring.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Thursday night games are always low scoring. That's with the exception of we get a rarity thrown in there, but I'm not a big fan of Thursday night games. They're just
I miss the color rush.
The guys are the color rush uniforms.
Just because you just throw it all in, it's a dumpster fire.
And why can't they? I mean, I guess you can't flex out of these Thursday night games, but I mean, we got Steelers and Bengals, two struggling teams coming up on Monday night. I mean, I guess we get a decent one with the Thursday night game with Eagles and Packers and Cowboys Saints, but some of these games. I mean, I know this dude's scheduled ahead of time. We get a whole lot of Browns action this year. Let's hopefully they turn around because everybody's been so high on them. Again, Browns like the Bears. Do something. Let's go. Everybody's high on you. Now you got the target on your back, Chicago. Same with the Browns. Prove it. Prove it to me on the road here. I don't think you deserve to be a favorite of 5 or 6 points. Give me the ugly home dogs.
The ugly home dogs. I'm sure the Redskins appreciate being called that.
Yeah.
And Jay Gruden needs to win some games if he wants to keep his job. All right, good stuff from Sean Higgs. As always, when we get back from the break, we are talking NFL opening lines and college football opening lines here on Picks and Parlays Radio.
It has been said that everyone has a book in them, but do you have the time or the ability to write your book? Maybe you picked up some skills or had a life experience that you want to pass on in the form of a book to help others. Maybe you want to leave an autobiography for your family, or maybe you've built a successful business and you want to share your story. At Dorrance Publishing Company, we have professional writers who can help turn your book idea into a finished manuscript quickly and affordably. A Dorrance ghostwriter can provide as much or as little help as you need to complete your book. You'll work directly with your ghostwriter to finish your book faster than you ever could on your own. It's easy to become a published author. Call Dorrance now to learn more. 800-485-6003. 800-485-6003. 800-485-6003. Call right now. That number is 800-485-6003.
Not too long ago, it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank, didn't it? For a vacation or a new car. But today, withdrawing your own cash has become risky. Pat Boone here for Swiss America. According to The Secret War, a new Swiss America white paper, I learned that all banks are now required to spy on you and me for the government, and then report any financial behavior deemed suspicious or unusual. You must read The Secret War. It's free. Truth is, I believe the government's new war against cash is really a war against us all. But the secret is now out. So please, get and read The Secret War.
Pick up your phone and call right now. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. Once again, that's 800-932-5517.
Attention business owners. Are you struggling while waiting for your customers to pay on their net 30, 60, or 90-day invoices? Can't get a business loan? Have no equity? Bad credit? Or maybe no credit at all? Then you need to call AmeriFactors right now. AmeriFactors will give you cash for your invoices and there's nothing to pay back. We simply buy your account receivables, and if those clients don't pay on the invoices, we take the loss. We give you funds based on your account receivables, not your credit, and 98% of all applicants are approved. It's that simple. With AmeriFactors, there's no more waiting for your customers to pay. We give you the funds up front, then we wait for your customers to pay us. Fund your business today. Call AmeriFactors right now.
800-847-1183. 800-847-1183. 800-847-1183. That's 800-847-1183.
Welcome back to Picks and Parlays Radio on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network and also streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. It is Monday, September 23rd, and we've got Craig Trapp joining us to talk a little opening line action. Hello, Craig.
Excited to be back, of course, back in Vegas for 2 weeks, and anytime I'm here, of course, that just makes all the betting that much better for me, and excited about both Monday Night Football tonight and Week 4 to get some big matchups.
Right. Let's talk about some of these lines, where they've opened, where they've moved. What are some of the ones that have stood out to you?
Well, the big one was Thursday night game coming up, of course, first. The Eagles-Packers, that line opened at 3, all the way up to 5 now, with, of course, the Eagles really struggling so far this year, and the Packers looking extremely good. I think this one's an interesting line movement, that much this soon.
All right. What are some other things you've noticed when this opening line report came out? Is there anything else that kind of jumped out at you?
Well, most of the other big line moves had to do with all these backup quarterbacks, of course, most of them playing against this week, which we got the news early in this week, of course, that Cam Newton's going to be out again. So that Panthers line went from 4 at the Texans, now it's 5.
All right, so has that one shouldn't have moved, in my opinion. Kyle Allen looked good.
Yeah, but it's perception. This is just public perception, and the bets are going to come in because the Texans looked really good at the Chargers last week. So that, you have that dual thing that the Chargers,
it's not just one aspect.
You win on the road in the NFL, you get a lot of credit, and Houston looked good. And then the Panthers, even though they look good, you don't have the big name, of course, quarterback in Cam Newton, even though he was not good in the first 2, and Kyle Allen was very good last week.
Right. We've talked about backup quarterbacks having a great week. 6-1 against the spread if you count Josh Rosen. Excuse me. So how do you take that information and use it in a way for smart betting?
Well, last week we talked about it in the rapid fire segment that I thought that the backup quarterbacks in the first time out would do fine, and they did. But week 2, now you got all that film out, and these defensive coordinators are going to spend all week raking through that, and they're going to find the weaknesses, and you're going to see those guys have a much tougher time this week. And I think they're not going to go 6-1 this week. I can guarantee that. One that could be interesting matchup, another big line movement, Cowboys at the Saints, which of course Teddy Bridgewater has plenty of experience, but that line opened at Cowboys -1.5, and now they're -3 on the road in very tough New Orleans.
Right. Yeah, I thought the Saints looked really good on the road at Seattle, even though Pete Carroll, bless his heart, got hit in the face with a football. It's got to be tough to coach after that.
You lose, and you get hit in the face, so it's like double whammy. And, the other big play is, of course, the 2 big teams in the AFC North right now, Browns and the Ravens, or at least the Browns coming into the season were supposed to be the team to beat, haven't been so far. Browns opened as a 5-point underdog. Now it's all the way up to 7. With, of course, even the Ravens losing this past week in Kansas City.
Right. And in the Browns, their schedule doesn't get any easier. So that's going to be a problem, I think, for Freddie Kitchens, how he handles adversity. And some of the play calling was questioned in last night's game. And Baker Mayfield said it's all about execution. But I think the play calling matters, too.
It was offensive line play was very poor last night. But, the Rams, obviously, Donald is a beast.
Right.
The Ravens, they have a good defense, but I don't think they have as good as defense as the Rams. Granted, it's on the road, but this is, I won't say a must-win for Cleveland, but if you want to win this division, if you go 1-3 and Ravens are 3-1, going to be a pretty hard battle to get back and beat the Ravens.
Right, especially when you were so hyped up to enter the season, because it's one thing if this was the Browns of the past, but it's not. It's the Browns that were expected to not be a contender in the Super Bowl, and Baker Mayfield had all these accolades, but now he's looking at a stat line where he has more interceptions than touchdowns.
Offensive line plays an issue. They're going to have to fix that because he's backing up on every play. It's like a fadeaway 3-point shot. The percentage is going to go way down.
The Kobe Bryant shot.
Exactly.
It's not a high percentage shot.
It's not a high percentage shot in basketball. It's even worse as a quarterback. So I think they're going to have to fix their offensive line play if the Browns have any chance of turning this around. Also, don't forget this week we have the first week of bye week. We got the 49ers and the Jets on a bye this week. So obviously it doesn't have a whole lot to do with the lines this week, but it will for next week.
All right, so let's move on to college football opening lines. What are some of the lines that have jumped out to you, some of the movements we've seen, and maybe some of these bets you'd want to jump on early?
Well, the biggest line movement that I saw that was surprised this week was Iowa State at Baylor. Baylor opened this line up at 3.5 as favored at 3.5. Now Iowa State's favored by 2.5. So when you go through 0, that is a huge line movement, and there's still some juice there. So I actually think this one's probably going to end up with Iowa State at favored at 3. That's a pretty big line movement, especially for a team on the road here.
All right, so let's talk about some of these games this weekend and how they might have affected some of the lines. We saw big performances from Auburn. Some people said Georgia proved that they were the best team in the country, and I don't see it. I don't think they proved enough against Notre Dame. I thought Notre Dame's defense looked pretty good. Have any of those games affected the lines?
Not really. Those had very, very minor line movements. The biggest, probably, I would say the biggest line movement as far as teams that were very impressive this last week was Wisconsin. They are hosting Northwestern this week, which really struggled at home and lost to Michigan State. That line moved from 21 as the opening line to now 24. That's a pretty big number. Even as impressive as Wisconsin has been, that's a big number in the Big Ten.
Right. Statistically, Wisconsin has been the most impressive team probably in all of college football, despite playing some quality teams. In Michigan, which, do we call them a quality team? Do we call Harbaugh a quality coach?
They're still ranked in the top 25, but I think that is perception only. We have not seen it this year on the field. We have not seen it in Harbaugh, to be honest, since he's been at Michigan. So it's hard to say that there's anybody but Wisconsin and Ohio State in the Big Ten right now.
Right. Also, Virginia, did you watch that game? They were falling to Old Dominion. That was one of the sharp plays, actually. I played that one. They were trailing in the first half against Old Dominion, so it'd be interesting.
Look ahead. That was a look-ahead game because, of course, Virginia plays at Notre Dame this week. So maybe the biggest game in Virginia's in the last 15, 20 years. So that's a big matchup, and big for Notre Dame too, because you can't lose back-to-back weeks. Even though they looked very good at Georgia, if they follow it up and lose to Virginia this week, man, I'm not saying the season's over, but the season's over.
I don't think they lose, because I think Notre Dame, had it been a neutral site, I think that would have been a different ballgame.
Potentially.
True or false?
I thought Georgia really kind of did what they wanted, but Georgia played awful. The first half, they played so conservative and really gave confidence to Notre Dame. And so that, the other one that we see big line movement is also Oklahoma, which of course has looked unbelievable again to start the year. That line, Texas Tech quarterback out, Bowman's out. That line moved from 23 as an opening number to 27. So we're seeing some really big numbers from the top 10 teams laying this week.
Right, and we can't forget LSU's been really dominant as well. Wisconsin, those seem to be the teams. Alabama has been impressive as well, but not as impressive, and they haven't really played anybody compared to some of these other teams at the top.
The one team we didn't mention yet, also the only team in the Pac-12 that can win it all still, because they're undefeated, Arizona State at Cal this week. That line moved from 3.5 to 5. Cal's looked really good. Of course, the win at Washington a few weeks back, and then last week that was a big trap game at Ole Miss, and had to sweat it out at the end zone, but they did do just enough.
Wait, did Arizona State lose?
Yeah, well, they've lost, yes. There's only one team undefeated in the Pac-12, and it is Cal.
Oh, I thought you said Arizona State.
Sorry, Cal. Cal's undefeated.
I was going to say, Arizona State did not win.
No, they did not win. But they did have the big win. Now it really looks good with Michigan State looking so good at Northwestern. That win looks even better. So this Cal win would be really good.
Michigan State lost that game. Arizona State did not win it.
We only go by the final score. But Cal, they're number 15 now. This would be a quality win. Depending on who loses in front of them, you could see Cal in the top 10 after this week.
I know. Did you see that going into it?
No, we talked about it, we thought Utah would be the one team from that conference, and they stubbed their toe against USC, even though they outplayed them. But once again,
that was a frustrating game to watch if you had money on it.
Yes, very especially when you get to the third string quarterback, like first series, you're like, we're pretty good here. And then they just were throwing jump balls the whole game. The other line, Wake Forest at BC, line moved from 3 to BC favored by 7. So that's an interesting matchup because, of course, the ACC is kind of winnable this year outside of Clemson.
Well, the Atlantic Division is already spoken for with Clemson, but the other side, it's always up for grabs. I think last year was Pitt that won.
Yes, it was Pitt last year.
It's been a different winner almost every year for the past 5 years.
The other side of the conference is they should just play. Clemson should get to go to play in the national championship, and the other 4 should just play in like a round robin because that's how close those teams are. And the other big line movement actually went down. Duke at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech opened at 7. As bad as they've been, this line is 3 now. So that's kind of a surprise. Usually at this time of the week, we see these line movements go way up, other than, of course, Iowa State. This one moved down.
All right, we've got a couple minutes left. Thoughts on this Monday Night Football game since we've got you here?
Well, my top play tonight is up for sale, picksandparlays.net. I like the side in this one. I like the total in this one, but I'm going to give you the side. I know Sean liked Washington. I just don't see it. A team that's given up 30 points in back-to-back weeks against a Bears team that doesn't give up a whole lot of points. I just think the Bears are the better team, and I'm not saying it's a must-win at this time of the year, but this is an important one. You lose to Washington, that's going to be one of the bottom 5 teams in the league. It's going to be a rough season. The Bears win this game. I think they cover tonight.
I think the Bears offense has to get better at some point because, to their credit, they have played 2 decent defenses, in the Packers and the Broncos. And, I mean, they've got to get better, right?
Well,
they've got to have a breakout game, and the Redskins' defense isn't good.
Yeah, you're facing one of the worst. If it's not this week, Trubisky needs to be benched, and they need to be going a different direction. What do we have? 6? We had 6 backups this week start. Some of them, of course, due to injuries. Maybe this should be number 7, if not next week, because the Bears, their defense is too good to be dealing with a quarterback displayed as poorly as he has.
Right. Him and Marcus Mariota, that's the question, because I'm a Titans fan, and everybody's talking about Tannehill now, which when I was covering the Dolphins, people would boo him at training camp. So
if Tannehill's your option at Tennessee, it's going to be a long season, Chelsa.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so I don't think they're going to switch. I think they have to stick with Mariota at least a couple more weeks. But, the problem in the NFL, you get to, then it won't matter. If you wait too long, you wait to week 6 and you're 2-4, it doesn't really matter.
Right. All right. Well, that's our opening line reports for college football and NFL. When we get back from the break, we talk college football on Picks and Parlays Radio.
Discount travel sites say they have the best prices, but Hilton.com has the price match guarantee. Look me in the eye. If you find a better rate, they match it and take 25% off. Yeah, this is radio, so just stare at the radio. Hilton.com has the best prices. Pinky swear. Or, radio swear. Plus, you can choose your exact room and get free Wi-Fi. Cross my heart, stick a needle in my radio. Expect better. Expect Hilton.
Must be a Hilton Honors member. Applicable terms and conditions at Hilton.com. Pinky swear.
Attention to anyone that's written a book or wants to write a book. The process is not that complicated. Take a first step. Even if you write a page a day, you'll build momentum and your book will become a reality. The hard part is getting it published. That's when you need to call Page Publishing. They've got hundreds and hundreds of thank yous from different new authors, just like you. They make the process of publishing your new book and getting it sold online a simple process. You can learn how simple it is right now by calling for your free Page Publishing New Author Submission Kit. One quick 3-minute phone call, that's all it takes to get free information and learn how you can get your book published. Pick up your phone right now and call us 24 hours a day at this number. 800-603-0885. 800-603-0885. 800-603-0885. That's 800-603-0885.
Money Now 100 is not a lender, broker, or agent of any lender or financial advisor. We do not make loans or credit decisions. You must be 18 years or older and a U.S. resident to qualify. This is not an offer or solicitation to lend. I went to MoneyNow100.com and got the $5,000 I needed deposited in my account the next business day. If you need money for any reason, help is here. Go to MoneyNow100.com and get the money you need. Need to pay off credit card debt? Go to MoneyNow100.com. Need your car repaired? Need home improvement money? Visit MoneyNow100.com. If you need fast cash for any reason, go to MoneyNow100.com. Good, bad, or no credit at all. Go to MoneyNow100.com. You could get up to $5,000 as soon as the next business day. Go to MoneyNow100.com on your phone, tablet, or computer. Type in the address bar MoneyNow100.com. That's MoneyNow100.com.
Got an iPod? Into podcasting? Now you can get podcasts of all your favorite Sports Byline shows delivered right to your computer automatically, so you can listen when and where you want, as many times as you want, on your PC or on your iPod. Never miss your favorite show. Just go to sportsbyline.com and click on the Get Podcast button next to your favorite shows. Visit sportsbyline.com today.
Welcome back to Picks and Parlays Radio here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network, and also streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I am your host, Chelsa Messinger. Tony T in the house in Vegas. How was your weekend?
Very good. My college football big play hit with Colorado. It kind of traded money with the premiums, but NFL was pretty sharp. Had a really good Thursday with the under, then coming in 3-1 with the Rams, my big play winner on Sunday.
Not bad.
I had to sweat it like you did.
As we mentioned on the opening segment, I'm very superstitious, and I could not even watch the Rams and the Browns game because it was the last of my parlay. It did hit, but I couldn't watch it.
Yeah, the Rams offense, but the defense put good pressure on Baker Mayfield. I came away really impressed with the Rams defense.
I wouldn't know because I didn't watch it because I was just miserable. I took a bath.
Well, the thing is the Colorado-Arizona state line I could not understand. I saw 8.5, I saw 7.5, and of course we talked about that on the college football on the quick picks that we had.
Right.
And I don't understand what people were saying. I blame the bettors because that line moved to 7.5 to 8.5, and it just made no sense to me. Arizona State doesn't have any offense.
Well, those people clearly didn't watch the game against Michigan State because they just saw a quality win over Michigan State, which obviously is a big win, but they didn't see how they did it. Michigan State lost it because they had 12 men on the field, made a field goal, it was canceled out, and then they missed the field goal. Yep. So I don't know if you give credit to Arizona State for that.
No, and then also those games on the Pac-12 network against Kent, they're non-conference games, they weren't very impressive, offensively. And
Pac-12's had a rough go of it.
They have a rough go, but they get a little better. We saw Cal go into Ole Miss and get the victory, and I like Cal in that game, and I'm not really high on Ole Miss. And of course, we saw Washington clobber BYU, and we had really good the rapid fire picks on college football and NFL have been really good for me this year.
Yeah, all right, so let's dive into this week. Let's start with the Thursday night game. Navy-Memphis. Memphis favored by 12. I didn't see a total on this one yet.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look at the total here for you. Right now we have Navy and Memphis. It's Memphis laying 10.5 in this game.
Oh,
now,
10.5.
We've seen some money coming in. 56 is the total. I'm going to need help with the totals here. So, yeah, I'm not staying away from the total here. I'm going to take Navy plus the 10.5 in this contest. Now, these teams have met the last 4 seasons. Notre Dame has covered, Navy has covered 3 of them. There's been one push. Last year, Navy's team was down, but they win 22-21 against Memphis. And this year, they look to be on the upswing with 2 really big wins, coming off a nice victory against East Carolina, 42-7. And I'm really impressed with their senior quarterback, Malcolm Perry. He's a dual threat. He can actually throw the football in a triple option.
Yeah, that's really helpful in a triple option because some of these triple option teams, they've really presented problems for some of these big schools. But when it comes to the 2-minute drill at the end of these games, when you're hoping that they cover, they can't throw the ball.
Yeah, and Perry is someone who can throw the ball, and if you need help there, I think Navy's a solid play. And of course, Memphis, that win against Ole Miss doesn't look as sharp anymore because
Ole Miss hasn't looked good.
Ole Miss is not. We talked about the Arkansas game last week when we talked about that game. Arkansas is not a very good team. We saw what happened. They lose to San Jose State of all teams.
Right.
Unbelievable. So I don't give Ole Miss much credit for that. And of course, they're losing to Cal, so that Memphis team may not be as sharp as people think they are.
It's surprising. The Memphis defense actually has looked pretty good, only giving up 10 points, 24, and 6.
Yeah, it is, but it has the competition hasn't been very, very tough. Now they're entering their teeth of their schedule. We'll see how they do.
Right, and Navy's going to run the football a whole lot because that's what happens in a triple option.
Yeah, and it keeps the possessions down. It keeps the scores down, and you're getting 10.5
And time of possession, you can really run down a defense, which is what I think Georgia almost did against Notre Dame.
Yeah, that Georgia-Notre Dame game, we talked about that. I thought Notre Dame was able to handle the physical pressure from Georgia because they played them early in the season, not late like they usually do. When we see Notre Dame fail, it's at the end of the season after they played that really tough schedule. They're physically worn, but they were fresh and they were able to withstand that challenge.
So you like Navy to cover in this one?
I like Navy to cover this game, definitely plus the 10.5. Get it before it gets under 10, by the way, because I think that line will continue to move.
Right, and Navy is 2-0. They've covered easily in both as a favorite.
Yeah, and they put over 40 points a game. I know that game against the FCS opponent is much, but East Carolina, they got some points on them, so I think they can run the ball. And they've had success in the past against Memphis. So Memphis, this high-power team with a lot of offense, not a very good defense.
Right.
Notre Dame's, Navy has been able to handle them.
And they don't have Tony Pollard anymore, who was pretty good for the Cowboys.
Yeah, that is true.
All right,
and
let's
Henderson,
move.
who's now with the Rams too, both of the running backs.
Yeah, they had some talent last season on Memphis. Let's move on to Penn State at Maryland. At number 12, Penn State favored by 6 in this one. Not seeing a total yet. If anyone has one, throw it out. But yeah, the number we're looking at right now is Penn State -6. You like it?
Well, I like taking Maryland here at the +6 or 7. There's some conflicting lines up there. So early in the week, we're going to see some variances in the lines here. But I like the Terrapins' offense, averaging 537 yards a game, and their quarterback Joshua Jackson, who's a transfer from Virginia Tech. He looks really good at home. I'm not sure about this Penn State team. I don't know what they are. They're inexperienced, first-year quarterback there, and of course that win against Pitt, 17-10. There wasn't a lot of points in that game.
And they didn't cover.
They didn't cover, and that game against Buffalo, that first half was just really mind-boggling. I mean, Buffalo was not an
well, they
experienced
came
team.
back. To their credit, they had a great monster second half. But
they were aided to victory by Buffalo mistakes too, so we have to look at that as well. But yeah, that was a question mark for me there with Penn State. But I think Maryland's moving in the right direction. I like them plus the points in this one. And of course, I'm not a big fan of the quarterback here at Penn State, who's a sophomore quarterback, Sean Clifford. He's only completing 58% of his passes, and it was only 46% accuracy against Pitt.
All right, the issue I have with Maryland is everybody was high on their offense the first 2 games of the season. They scored 79 and 63, but then they laid an egg against Temple.
Yeah, they did not have a good game at Temple. Temple, good defensive team, but that was on the road. Let's see if we can get that home form to come through for us.
58 is our total. You like that? Juicy? Juicy or not?
I'm going to stay off the total right now.
All right, let's go to Virginia and Notre Dame. Notre Dame, of course, coming off that big game against Georgia, in which it depends on the number you had. I think they covered 23-17 for most people. Virginia is 4-0, but their big wins coming against Pitt and Florida State. How do you like them in this one?
I like the points here with Virginia plus 11. The Cavs off to a 4-0 start. They went on the road already. This will be their second road game. They beat Pitt 30-14, and they're getting an accuracy from their quarterback Bryce Perkins, 65% completion rate, actually 67% completion rate. A senior quarterback coming back. And one thing about this game with Notre Dame, they're coming off that physical game against Georgia. Now you're going to have to face another physical team in Virginia. I think there's going to be an issue there for Notre Dame in this game. I like the points plus 11.
Right, Notre Dame, as we mentioned, that was a really physical game. I think almost the game plan for Kirby Smart was to wear down that defense because they were really conservative. They were really conservative. I know they have a good run game, but Jake Fromm, he was just throwing the shortest passes I've ever seen. It was wild to me, I thought.
Yeah, that's when you think a lot of the SEC teams are so bigger than everybody else. They think
right,
they can
up front,
they can just win with the physical game. And they think back, well, Notre Dame, they get always blown out in these type of games. But like I mentioned last week, it happens at the end of their season. But early on, Notre Dame still a physically strong team, and they held with them. And it was only 2019, a few years ago, when they met Notre Dame and Georgia at Notre Dame. So Notre Dame showed they can play with them, at least early in the season.
What did you see from Ian Book this week that you liked?
Yeah, Ian Book.
Or didn't like.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's going to be with these quarterbacks. It's going to be week to week with them. Their run game is going to be important, I think, for the Fighting Irish here. But I think what's going to happen is going to be the Virginia defense. I think the Virginia defense is experienced. They're giving up like 20 points a game the past couple of seasons with Bronco Mendenhall. Mendenhall will have a game plan. Remember, Mendenhall is no stranger to the big game. Remember with BYU, he would schedule big opponents with the Cougars, and he had success. I think with Mendenhall's coaching, of course, I'm not going to put much stock in their game the week prior. Of course, they still got the win. But again, I think they'll be ready for this one.
What scares me is a slow start. Because if you go on the road to Notre Dame and have another slow start like they did against Old Dominion was leading 17-0.
They were, but to Virginia's credit, they came back, fought hard, and got the win. So again, they made the adjustments.
Against Old Dominion,
Old Dominion, which Old Dominion did pull an upset last year against Virginia Tech. They've given Tech some problems the past several seasons. But again, we've seen this a lot with teams when they kind of overlook their opponent, especially it's a non-conference game.
Right.
Waiting for the big game against Notre Dame. They don't want to show too much. And that's what happens again. These coaches, they don't want to show too much for the opponent coming up. We know Notre Dame is a big circle game for the Virginia program. It's not one of those elite ACC programs. So this Notre Dame game takes even more importance.
Right. Notre Dame is ranked 10th. Do you think that's too high or too low? Because Notre Dame traditionally gets a lot of credit from the media. Just a big public team.
Well, I think a 6-point loss on the road is not going to hurt them too much. I mean, there's still an outside chance they can actually run the table, and maybe if things fall right for them, they can get back in the playoff picture. Remember, there's 4 teams in the playoffs, so I wouldn't write off Notre Dame just yet because it was a quality loss to opponent on the road.
Right. 11 points is a lot in college football. We've seen some of these garbage time touchdowns, and that's got to be a factor as well.
It's got to be a factor, especially with Virginia's senior quarterback in Perkins, who's been accurate. He's been there before, and you got a really good defense there with Virginia. Talk about garbage touchdowns. You also got to worry about that from Notre Dame offense. Can Virginia get off the field against Notre Dame, which I think they can? And again, if you're down, the game can land 8, 9, even 10, and you win no matter who wins the game if you're on the Virginia side.
Something that stood out to me, Notre Dame only had 14 rush attempts against Georgia.
Yeah, and I think that's what we talked about, seeing that physical presence there from Georgia. Maybe they wanted to throw the ball more to have to avoid that, gain of 1, gain of 2.
Right.
And you're getting down in distance against a team like Georgia. That's a place you don't want to be. Maybe spread them out a little bit. I think that was an appropriate game plan. It worked because you cashed it if you had Notre Dame and kept them in the game.
And they used their tight ends really well. They used that size mismatch to their advantage. They didn't win, but I mean, Georgia with those lights. Did you see Ian Book trying to warm up with the strobe lights?
Yeah, it's they get away with it.
That was tough.
I know.
I know Alabama has those lights as well, so they'll be using those further down the season when they eventually play a good team and they play a night game.
That's absolutely good. Now I'm going to ask you this question. Did you stay up and watch that UCLA game in Washington State?
No, I didn't.
You did not stay up. Okay.
Oh, no, I did. It was the 63.
Yeah, 60.
Yeah, I watched
69.
the end of it.
Amazing.
Chip Kelly didn't deserve a win, though.
Oh, of course. When your defense gives up 66 points, you don't deserve a win. But there's been some craziness in the Pac-12. We see USC pull out a win with the third-string quarterback. Now, we talked about the air raid offense. It's kind of a plug-and-play offense where you can just kind of bring in a second or third string in there, and it works. And it worked to USC's advantage. They finally got the right. Just throw a jump ball. Like you said, there seemed to be a size advantage for the Trojans receivers against the Utah secondary. But I want to see how Utah has a game against Washington State this coming week. That's going to be an interesting one to see.
Speaking of unpredictable, did you see Chip Kelly putting up that many points?
No, especially in the third quarter when it was 49-17. How in the world has it become 69-66? Unbelievable special teams, mistakes. Incredible that UCLA was able to pull that game off, and I'm just still shaking my head over it. I mean,
that was like the definition of Pac-12 after dark.
Yes.
People have these preconceived notions of some of these conferences, and that was a wild one.
Well, especially the week before when you expected all this points with Texas Tech and Arizona, it turned into a dud. There wasn't a lot of points scored. Now you finally get it here with UCLA and Washington State. But
it was similar to that Kansas game.
Yeah.
Because before that, Les Miles had no offense.
That's true.
And then out of nowhere, he scores like 50.
Yeah. And of course, we got a good one coming up with USC going into Washington. That has the Huskies favored by 9. And now suddenly the Pac-12, race is becoming very interesting because I've always said before, these teams in the Pac-12 focus solely on the Rose Bowl. I don't think they really care so much about the playoff, to be honest with you. They really want to get to the Rose Bowl. So you got to kind of not pay attention too much to their non-conference play, like that loss to BYU. Their focus is strictly on getting to the Rose Bowl.
Right. It should be interesting down the stretch. And with Oregon's got a big one coming up too.
Yeah, Oregon's got some big games coming up. Of course, they got past Stanford. Now, that was a tough because they've always had trouble with Stanford. But they were able to cover a double-digit spread on the road, which was an impressive win for me.
Right. I think that was an easy one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Those are the best ones when you don't have to sweat.
Keep an eye on SMU. That's a team we talked about earlier to start the season. They're winning and covering. Sonny Dykes, second year with the program with experience. And I think this SMU team is one to look at.
All right, we've got to wrap it up. That's our college football talk. We're back after the break on Picks and Parlays Radio.
Imagine this is your money and someone wants to take it from you. Who is it? The IRS. They want your money, and guess what? They can legally take it, all of it if they want. Remember, they sent you that letter that said, hey, you owe us a bunch of cash and we're going to take it from you. So what do? Fight back by letting our team of experts at the Tax Helpline work it out with the IRS so you can keep your money. And we're good at what we do. When you hire us, you get a team of guys on your side that know the IRS laws and will fight to save your money. So, if you owe the IRS a ton of cash and you want to keep it, call right now and learn for free how we can help you put it back in your pocket.
800-932-1749. 800-932-1749. 800-932-1749. That's 800-932-1749.
If you or a loved one is suffering from a physical or emotional condition that has left you unable to work, then listen carefully. Take this number down, 800-593-7491. That's 800-593-7491. When you call, you'll speak with a Social Security disability expert and get a free evaluation to see if you may qualify for disability insurance benefits from the U.S. government. That's right, a monthly cash payment paid directly to you from the Social Security Administration. Whether you're applying for the first time or you've already been denied disability benefits, call now. The disability attorneys at Pinnacle Disability can help you build your case, file an appeal, and represent you at no upfront cost to you. Don't wait another minute to see if you may qualify for your Social Security disability benefits. Call Pinnacle Disability Group at 800-593-7491 for your free case evaluation. That's 800-593-7491. 800-593-7491. Call now.
Hi, I'm Dr. Robert Clapper, Chief of Orthopedic Surgery at Cedars-Sinai Medical Group in Los Angeles, California. Dedicated to your health, your life, and your sports. As a weekend warrior, you know about sports injuries and pain. Exercise is an important element in keeping your body's core in good shape to minimize sports injuries. But when you are in pain, there is one product that I recommend to my patients, and that is Blue Goo Gel. Blue Goo consists of a proprietary formula developed specifically for the treatment of inflammation and general muscle aches and strains. I recommend Blue Goo for my patients coping with hip and knee pain before surgery, especially bursitis and tendinitis. Give Blue Goo a try. Call 1-888-330-0123 and you'll receive a 1-week supply of Blue Goo absolutely free. The makers of Blue Goo are even paying the shipping. The number again is 1-888-330-0123. If you want more information on Blue Goo, visit online at www.dothegoo.com.
Now available at select Big 5 stores near you.
Welcome back to Picks and Parlays Radio here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. I'm your host, Chelsa Messinger. You can find me every day on Twitter at Chelsa Messinger is my handle. And also check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We stream the show live every weekday, 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern, if you want to tune in that way. We had a full show today, jam-packed with info regarding this week in football and baseball. Right now, we're going to recap all of our picks in case you weren't listening, in case you need a little reminder. Starting off with Sean Higgs' baseball picks. Phillies at Nationals taking the under 9 in that one. Red Sox Rays taking the run line, -1.5, and the over, 8.5. And moving on to our college football picks with Tony T. Navy in their triple option offense at Memphis, taking Navy +10.5. It's been wild what some of those triple option offenses have done to some of these big name teams. You saw the Michigan game. They almost beat Michigan. Not Navy, but Army. Penn State, Maryland, taking Maryland +7. Virginia at Notre Dame, taking Virginia and the points +11. Even though I do think Notre Dame played pretty well against Georgia. I thought their defense looked especially well against one of the best run attacks in all of college football. However, I think Georgia did play call very conservatively. They wanted to run down that defense, and eventually they did. But they didn't cover. So I know some people were probably mad about that. But yeah, it's been a great show. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern for Picks and Parlays Radio with more bets, more ways to win, and more banter when it comes to sports. Bet, win, repeat. We'll be back tomorrow on Picks and Parlays Radio. See you then.